Hello everyone, I'm Anushri Sharma, Assistant News Editor at ETHR World International, and I hope you are having a great time at the Economic Times Next Tech Middle East HR Summit 2022. In today's talent era, technology has evolved as a big differentiator. From the role of an enabler, it has now moved to the forefront, helping companies design people-first experiences. Organizations that are able to leverage the tech people combination are building a winning story in this era where talent is scarce. In this session, evolving role of CIO in helping organizations win in the talent era, we have leaders and experts joining us who will help us understand the changing narrative around tech, the need for HR super apps to build digital people experiences, and the role of a CIO to support the dynamic needs of today's businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the speakers for this session. We have Bhupendra Pant, who is CIO of Otegro. He was previously has been associated with companies like Westman Corporation, where he was working as CIO and Vice President IT. He has also worked with various leadership and managerial capacities at Larsen and Toubro. Welcome, Bhupendra. We also have with us Fayaz Ahamed Badubhai, who is the Group IT Director, Al Yousuf Group. Fayaz is a new age, tech-savvy, recognized technology specialist and leader with over 24 years of experience in business transformation through technology. Joining with us today, we also have Veneeth Purushotaman, who is the Group CIO, Aster DM Healthcare. Veneeth has over 2 decades of experience in leading technology enablement and transformation across retail, education, and healthcare sectors. Prior to joining Aster DM Healthcare, he was the CIO of Fortis Healthcare. And to moderate this very interesting session, we have Mrigank Tripathi, who is the Chief Growth Officer, India and MEA PeopleStrong. A strategy consultant turned digital entrepreneur turned growth leader, Mrigank is a core member of HCM Business leading growth and expansion in India and Middle East. Mrigank, Veneeth, Fayaz, and Bhupendra, welcome to the session. It's a pleasure having you in this event today. So now, Mrigank, over to you. The screen is all yours.
Thank you so much, Anu. Really appreciate the very warm welcome that you've given all of us. I'm pretty sure my fellow colleagues on the panel will agree with that. But it's a very interesting topic, right? I mean, I was in Dubai last week itself, and we were discussing with the clients on how the whole sort of dynamic has changed and everything. We realized something very strange about the region. Everybody over there is very comfortable with the core tenets of HR. My leave in attendance, my payroll, everything is very standardized. Everything goes very well. But one thing that is absolutely out of the center is really the whole thing around talent. Everybody is today running after the talent side of things, and frankly, we now seem to be living in what I'd like to call a talent economy, right? Where talent is really all the currency that organizations have. If you have good talent, you'll win in this economy. If you don't have good talent, you will most probably lose in this economy. So I want to kick this session off and have a basic question around this. With this whole changing dynamic world order, what are the 2 biggest challenges or changes that you've seen as your role, and in your role as the key enabler for the entire organization, specifically focused around talent? Bhupendra, let's start with you.
So thanks a lot, and it's great to be with you today. And if you look at the last 2 years, a lot has changed, right? Around this time, if you look at in 2020, as the lockdown protocols were announced, and businesses were seen overnight to move from work from office to a work from home kind of business model, and that most of the organization initially thought, no, it is a 2 weeks, 3 weeks kind of a process.
That's
but
right.
then, to their surprise, they found they are going to be there for a long haul, and it was basically what they decided as a business continuity plan for 2 weeks, 3 weeks was there to stay, and then it was basically IT support or the HR change. What they got was which in a traditional manner would have been done in 2 years or achieved in a longer time was done in a month or 2. So as a result, it was not really seamless, but yes, it was the need of the hour. From the security angle, if you look at it, it was also not that very serious thought on security was given there at that time. So uh, after having gone through this, now coming back to work, we have an option now. No, the term which we are hearing is no great resignation or the future of work or the hybrid work. So what is it basically the new normal is going to be? So if you mentioned the term talent economy, so talent, the word was a talent economy before pandemic also, and the talent, how do you manage talent is what was going to become your asset and capability of the business. But if you look at in this new norm, some of the surveys which I was reading, what is basically how this has pandemic has changed this. One of the survey, the very striking statistics which I saw was 70% of the respondent in that they were kind of favoring a work from anywhere kind of environment over a compensation rise or a promotion. So that was very
Yeah.
kind of striking. And why would people or talented people would like to opt work from anywhere kind of environment? So basically they looked at it was giving a different work life balance to them. It was giving kind of less time on your travel. They could save money, they could have a more flexible schedule. So all these especially are the new factors which are basically the driving coming along with the talent which already existed before pandemic also. So talent, if you look at how does CIO role or the CHRO, the duo, which is basically I call it the wheel of transformation, the HR and IT. So CHRO and CIO got impacted because of this, and they are basically have to partner to basically solve this situation. So how it is impacting is CIO role or the IT team's role. Basically, CIO and IT team has to work now very closely with the business. So it is what is required now is at a very high speed and in a more the agility has to be there in our delivery. So that is it cannot be kind of you ask for requirement and then you take your IT take sweet time to implement 6 months, select the technology. So those gone are those days. It is basically you look at more software as a service, quickly try out. If you fail, you have to look at are you failing successfully or are you failing fast or not. That is the order of the day.
No,
It is
that's a brilliant that's a brilliant, those are brilliant points that you're making. And I think
so
what I heard was security, speed,
yeah.
working together with the HR folks, as well as moving to a software as a service. Am I broadly right? I just wanted to
Yeah.
encapsulate that for now.
So along with, yeah, you rightly kind of summed up that speed is there, agility is there as a key requirement. And along with that, you have to bring in the what are the as a technology trend, what new is available. So what you hear is more and more AI and automation is getting embedded in your processes. So that gives you very quickly, where processes are efficient or not. You are quickly able to discover the inefficiency in your processes. So these are the things. And last but not the least among these is this 2 years of lockdown and working remaining away from office. There is basically CIOs and the leaders, they need to look at the emotional side of the handling also, like what people have gone through in these 2 years, the emotional and well-being and health of the employees in this scenario. So while they are dealing with work and talent, that is also a very key aspect now. So that is how I feel it is getting impacted.
Very well summed up. And Fayaz, what about you? How have you been looking at it? I mean, you're a fairly large conglomerate which exists out of the Middle East. Tell us a bit more about what have been the big changes. Do you agree with Bhupendra? Are there some other elements that you want to look at, that you want to talk about?
MT, first of all, thanks for inviting me into this good panel, which touching the human resources as well as technology. That's the handshake everyone is expecting, apart from all the angles. I was happy that you visited Dubai and found it very I hope it was a very useful trip.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So coming to the talent, right? Like coming from village level, so grown into IT, technology, technical, functional, management, everything. If someone asks me, how do you define what is a human resource and what is a talent? Resource, we all used to know from our studies, right? Resource is something which is useful, right? So the more human is becoming useful, it is good for himself or herself, and it is for the company, and that's for the economy.
Yeah.
So especially, I think our friend Bhupendra has touched base very good points. So there's no debate on that. I completely agree with him, 10%. So when you ask about talent, right? What is talent? Talent is basically a skill, according to me. I'm not going with the Oxford Dictionary and all. What is the definition? I think Google can very well spell that. But for me, as a simple man, talent is something you have some skill, which if you utilize for good, yes, you are growing, and also organization is growing and the society is growing. This is where I see talent. When the COVID happened, everybody realized a lot of hidden potentials, hidden talents came out. So even I was a bathroom singer during my college days. So I realized that, yes, I can be a good entertainer, I can be a good singer, and I was doing video, chit chat or TikTok, those kind of things. So there are some talents good for your personal growth. There are some talents good for organization growth. So because we are in a work-life balance now, so we need to balance our talents. I mean, you have to put all your efforts in the right direction so that we grow mutually. So at the end, our 50 to 70% efforts go into the corporate world, and people spend 20 to 30% on the personal front, and many people get tied up. So balancing becomes challenge. When it comes to HR, right? So people and the dimensions of working style has changed a lot, which everyone knows that. People say like it's a very old joke nowadays. Who accelerated the digitalization, digital transformation? It's nothing but COVID. Everyone knows that now. So
Yeah.
but that gave a nice opportunity for everyone to think, what about the talent inside the corporate? So we are a huge group with the diversified business verticals: automotive, electronics, B2B, B2C, manufacturing, real estate leasing. So when we ask about ourselves, okay, people are there just working on a desperation. You know that salary cuts happened and a lot of people got affected in one way or another way. When things are becoming normal, right? So people realize, as a human resource department, how do I engage the talent here? Because the way world is growing towards digitalization, there is a lot of demand created for the IT guys especially on the technology sector. But at the same time, if you see Dubai, if you notice Dubai is welcoming the world talent to come to UAE by giving golden visa and different kind of visas, who are like coder mentality, which everyone knows that coding is a skill which will be useful for the entire organization and the entire country. So when there is such encouragement on the coding, but when you talk about IT department, maybe we'll have 20, depends on the organization size, but mostly like maybe like 1%, 2% people are from IT. And majority, when you have the stakeholders, they are all from business mindset. Let it be sales, marketing, CRM, logistics, procurement. Everybody has a talent. So I think what I see as a redefinition of talent is, you don't need to have always like an outside view to get new talent, because the economy is changing. People are also looking for out. So if you utilize this existing workspace, right, existing human resources, if you identify who is specialized at what and give them opportunity, let them join hands with IT. Even the evolution of low code, no code platforms, if you really see, they're going to change the way we think. No more the gone are the days like some fatty companies come implement Oracle. No, IT, any requirement you ask IT, they say we are busy, change request, blah blah blah. So people are coming. Imagine yesterday one gentleman came with me, sir, I want to design a screen like this is my requirement. We never consulted him. No, this is the way, this is not the way. He approached on his own by googling out and all. This is the form I would like to have. This is the process management I would like to have. This is the integration I would like to do on the financial or accounting management software. So this, for me, it's an unbelievable talent. If I look at the company resources, at least even if I take 10% of the resources from the whole company, I see good talented guys who can handshake with IT, and they are the real heroes who can help us in the digitalization, digital transformation. This, for me, retaining such talent, encouraging and incentivizing them is more important. That's where I think HR has to is changing the way they consider human resources as a talent. So I think the economy is demanding us to retain the talent by promoting them. And if you really make use of the talent behind them, I think it's going to be a digital organization. That's what every organization is looking towards.
Oh, phenomenal. I think, after hearing you, Fayaz, in all honesty, I was speaking at HR Tech Mina last
Yeah,
weekend.
last
And
week.
yeah, and I actually had Badubhai, which is a customer of ours, up on stage. And this is exactly what we are doing with them, to be able to see what is my internal talent and how can I sort of give it transparency and then help them grow, so that I don't have to keep on looking for new talent, rather grow my own and be able to acquire them better. If every CXO like yourselves were already had this thought, now my life would be much easier.
No, because we have cost cutting pressure, so I need to hire talent. So every time I cannot go out. So let's reuse the same existing what we have. Thanks
I
for that.
agree. No, phenomenal. Vineeth, what about you? Do you have any? You're from the healthcare industry. Would love to hear your views on this.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in this forum, and great to be with all the other panelists on this call. You're right. It's a very dynamic and different world, and I think most of us have ran out of words to call it, whether it's the new normal, it is the old normal, or whatever. And it's been a different period of the last couple of years. With technology and digital becoming one of the most important talked about agendas in every board, every leaders talking about it, and irrespective of what is being spoken in the board, or if you keep that aside as well, there has been a very clear focus, and we all understand in every vertical that we are in that technology is now really transforming the way we do business. Now that it's all about people at the end of it, and it's like at Aster, our tagline says, "We will treat you well." And when we say we'll treat you well, we actually mean we'll treat our customers well. But we believe internally that we can't treat the customers well till the time we treat our people well. So it all starts with people. So your question is very valid. There's a big change in the way we look at people now, and the way we have to look for the right resources. And what is definitely changed is the need in the market, or the demand in the market for digitally capable, because I'm not using all those typical words that goes to say digitally native and various profiling that has been done over a period, but people who are required in terms of skill sets in this digital world. There is definitely a lack of that skill set. Now, there is a lot of work that need to be done to get that demand met across the various vertical. I belong to healthcare, and I know that all my colleagues in healthcare equally will echo what I'm saying. And yeah, that's one of the challenges, that there is a dearth. There's a dearth of the right skill sets.
Now, those are great inputs. Let's move on to another side of this whole economics, right? And I want to dive a bit deeper into this now. Now, both of you have said that CHRO and CIO connect has to be there, and you must interact more and stuff. I agree with you, but take us a bit behind the curtain. Tell us what has really changed. What is it that is actually being asked by the HR teams from you? You are the enablers. They're the askers. What is it that has changed? Fayaz, do you want to go first this time?
Yeah, definitely. So I think Bhupendra also touched base as part of previous question. See, earlier traditional way is like you do the budgeting exercise, being a cost center. So we do every year budgeting, and we collect the requirements, and we plan the resources, hiring or in-source, outsource, all those things. We used to do like that. Now with the way things are changing, right? The demand, the work need to be delivered in a more proactive manner, and I would say agile manner, or in an efficient manner. So the big bang project approach, I think, slowly dying. So people are adapting. Let's start small, grow, and make it like a microservice architecture. So they don't talk about architecture, but I'm being an IT, I'm just telling you that. So start small, grow the horizon. That's way you, as a requester, you're also happy, I'm also happy. So traditionally, we used to ask, create a project charter, create a design, create a customer journey mapping example. So they spend almost a month or 2 months of time. And at the end, we sit with them, say, no, this is wrong, that is wrong. How? So all these things are happening, right? Rather than we are change the approach. See, there is a lot of management support also needed in this cultural mind shift. Yeah. So gone are the days where if I'm end user, the last thing I like is to depend on someone. When you have a system properly working, make sure that all the processes are working fine. As an IT, we will have less dependency, right? But now the way things are changing, business users are coming to us saying that I have this much requirement. Can we face it in this manner? Okay, at least my critical thing is this. Like I always follow 80/20 rule. Yeah, where you do 20% of the efforts, 80% of the time, he is happy. I'm sure that if you follow this approach, that's proven successful to me. He will forget the next requirements at least for the next 6 months. So
that's a good approach. That's a good tactic to ensure that you don't get too many change requests.
I think I should not have shared the secret. Yeah. So this is the way I think I'm also utilizing my resource where I can do better and where I can focus more, and I can come up with like app center, right? So keep coming with the apps which can help the business.
Yeah.
So all business users, they need, if you take about the phone analogy, everybody are not looking for iPhone kind of experience. They need some smart, simple smartphone kind of experience. Boss, give me this much, I will not trouble you. So make them happy, make them working, and make the process matured on that every quarter, every few months, based on the time availability between both. Have some regular meetings to take the feedback and improve it. But the basic features, at least give something. So I think this is the way I think user mindset is also changing. If somewhere it's not changing, people are still in the old mindset. It's time to change. So
I heard you say that, you know, rather than going after mega projects, you have actually now started doing micro projects and delivering using an 80/20 rule to ensure that the key requirement or the key objectives of the CHROs and the HR teams are actually fulfilled, thereby ensuring that work doesn't suffer and your resources are also managed within a specific budget.
Yes,
I think
with the ultimate objective of mega project. But
the ultimate objective, sure. So you actually just basically stack up small micro projects and then you move. I think it's a brilliant approach. But Bhupendra, you had mentioned and clearly you're fairly gung-ho about the whole SaaS ecosystem. How have things changed for you? What have you been doing?
So if you look at the ask from the HR and what we are seeing in the organization, so talent, as they say, in the money every business can have, technology every business can have, machines everyone can buy, but it's the people who makes the difference. And within the employees also, it is the talent pool which makes your biggest differentiator. So we are with the more scarcity of talent now at this point. We are seeing different ways in which business is trying to grappling with this talent management, or how do they effectively manage the existing talent first of all, and other is how do they attract the fresh talent. So these both have clear drivers, whether they are the technical drivers, cultural, or financial, but organization need to prepare, and we are clearly seeing that. So if I give you example of my own team, it's basically what is required is to manage to achieve more with less, right, with the lesser manpower, but at the same time align with what they need to perform their work better, and then try to kind of motivate and reward them the way they basically what works for them. And it's not only the money which basically is a big motivator I'm talking about. It's maybe the offering them newer technology to work with, their flexible timing, and other learning along with the work they are doing, their certification, they're doing some courses during this time, allowing them ability to apply this their learning in the organization. These are few things which basically are working for, at least in my IT team. And one of the things which I observe is as the kind of internal talent become scarce and less, so we have to depend on external talent for shorter period of time. So here the ability of my managers is to wear a different hat of a manager, of how he effectively manages the external vendor team. So it is traditionally it is requiring a lot of change in the skill sets, grooming them to take up these roles and achieve better results. So basically, if you look at these team members have grown into with their technical heads, and they're very different skill set they have. So one is, there is clearly a gap in managing the external vendor and playing a more of a project management kind of role, taking innovation into organization faster. So these are the things basically we are grooming them so that they become better, engaged with their actual requirements, which are differentiated to the organization. So this applies. I mean, in the context of marketing or sales or HR, you can look at it. They have their similar needs, but mostly with the existing talent, how do you nurture them better so that they are engaged, they stay with us, and they are able to deliver better. So that's the whole ask. If I look at, if I have to
So
sum
again,
up.
it's a similar
Yeah.
thing. It's
But
much
what
more.
does it mean in terms of this kind of situation? What does it translate for an talent management platform? Is definitely how fast you can recruit a person who has kind of desired skill set, and then how do you basically onboard him faster so that he become productive in a least time, and all this has a window of opportunity. If you are unable to achieve this in that time frame, you basically lose on that opportunity. So basically, then you are left with the person, and his talent the potential cannot be realized in the organization. So you need rigorous performance management. You need multiple stakeholder to give continuous feedback. You have to make some individual growth plans, succession plans to mitigate the risk of the talent loss. So these are primarily the need which I am looking at, and this translate into a very integrated and robust talent management platform. And uh, other side of this is definitely this would be more transactional, but then there are kind of CHROs. I am reminded of one CHRO which I worked in my earlier organization, which is not only you are thinking of today, but you are defining a lot of imaginative thing. Also, you are interacting with the CIO. Like this was more than 5 years back when these apps were not there, but I was asked to make one app for meeting feedback. So the thought process was like, in an organization, the considerable amount of the talent or the managers goes into conducting meeting or being part of the meeting. So after each meeting, if you have a app in which the participant can give quick feedback on how was the meeting, was there an opportunity to know the participant felt they were heard, whether the objectives of the meeting were met, or in terms of time, how did the meeting do? These are 3-4 questions which would pop up after meeting, which immediately the participant can give feedback, which would give suppose I am organizing 100 meetings in a year for my team, then I have a good feedback of what I am good at in my meetings and where is basically I need to improve. So this was similar. And if you look at, if that time is managed well and this results into the objectives of the meetings are met, so it basically really can move the bottom line, aligns everyone's time in the company, with a very fruitful
Sure. No, I
objective.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think you made your point. So a lot of good points from both of you. Clearly, one is stacking up the projects and everything, and making sure that you deliver on 80/20 principle, as well as keeping your resources handy. On the other side, you do need to keep your people motivated. You need to be able to have a very, very robust talent management system, which is built on a SaaS platform, which can then quickly change and adapt to the various requirements across the organization, and nimbleness, as well as data-driven accuracy around all the activities that are happening. These are the things that I think both of you have actually broadly spoken about. Veneeth, would love to hear your views on this one as well. What have you been doing in the overall healthcare industry?
Yeah, I guess the ask is to HR and not from HR in my case, because I've been now working very closely with HR. Not that I did not work before, but then we much more now with HR teams to actually align. Now, See if everything if there the demand and supply equation is all smooth, then it's fine. You will get along even if you don't talk too much. But when your demand and supply is challenged, it's very important that the stakeholders connect, talk, and find ways to address it. So that's what happens with me as well, along with my HR teams. So things like how do I make it more exciting for digital folks to join us? Now, if I'm looking for a digital resource, and if he's a good guy, and if he's a good girl, or if a good resource, he or she has got the best of the digital companies around there. There are so many startups, the young companies who are very bright, very popular, and then there are the big ones like the Googles and the others around. So why should they choose Aster over them, right? Therefore, we have to give enough reasons as to why it is Aster is a place to work. So that becomes a conversation that I have with my HR folks. We also therefore make it salaries definitely has to be competitive, and I'm sure all of us are facing a challenge there because the expectations are rising. There has to be, but more than that, what I've seen is most of the candidates that we meet and most of the resources that we talk to are happy if they get a very clear visibility of the role that they've been got into, if they get a very clear visibility on their future in your organization. So we try to make it very clear that we give them a complete visibility as to what is the road ahead for them, and that's how we have to make it exciting.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Good. Let me now sort of open up the hood a bit. We've clicked a bit. We've looked behind the curtain. We've done all of that. But now let me sort of open up the overall hood. And what I want to ask you all is, basis my various interactions with various CIOs, everyone that I have actually interacted with has primarily bucketed 4 key elements in their priority list. And I invite all of you to just give me what is the priority for these 4 only, no new priorities. Simply because I will not be able to do too much about it. I'm just being selfish about it. So, yeah. So these 4 priorities, as they talk about, one is integrated systems. You have got 5 different types of systems running in the organization, and 5 different types of teams taking care of those various systems, and data flow from and back to those systems. Right? It's a big problem. How can you actually sort of remove all of that and put one system in place for at least for one function and take it off your head? That's one big problem that that CIOs have said. The second is that of employee experience. Every single CIO today is bothered about employees, because today clearly employees are at the center of it. We're talking about talent economy. They need to be sort of catered to. Third is lesser dependency on implementation partners. Because implementation partners, while they do bring in a lot of knowledge and stuff, they also delay a fair bit of activities that need to be done, and also result in a bit of cost. At least that's the perception that a lot of CIOs have. And finally, how do you ingest all the relevant data from various other systems into the core HR system to be able to automate the processes? Which out of these 4, Fayaz and Bhupendra, would be your top 1, 2, 3, and 4? Bhupendra, we'll start with you, but only these 4, and which is first, second, third, and fourth?
So I would put, and what I'm seeing is, yes, the employee experience is one which would be at the forefront, and
that's one.
Yeah, that is, employees are seeing more and more technology in their personal life, and
so they want to see that. Okay.
Yeah. So when they come to workplace, it's not something like they are unable to relate, or they feel they are going back in time in this.
Got it. What would be number 2?
It would be the integrated system for the HR managers and leaders to decide, or to make a put this into a context. They cannot look at these things in the silos, whether it is attendance data or a performance data. If there is a dashboard which is giving them complete picture of what is this, where is my top talent, what are the development plans, how we are doing there, what are the feedbacks. So if those are provided in a single screen, in a very which basically help you to put this in a better business context. So I would say the integrated system would be my second.
Okay.
Yes.
And between implementation partners and ingestion of data, which would be number 3 and number 4?
So ingestion of data would be the third, because we need to bring all sort of data into kind of one single system. So that would be the third. And last would be like the dependency on the
implementation partners.
vendor.
They're a necessary evil. They're a necessary partner. Shall we just
so
put
it's
it that
not
way?
no, we need not, because there is expertise and we should make it. How and where we apply that is more important. Are we applying it where it is really necessary, or just we are changing things just for the sake of changing? It is the wisdom of the company where we basically decide this. So
right. Fayaz, what about you?
Well, because this webinar is meant to help the people, yeah. So sorry for that, but I'll slightly deviate from the 4.
Sure.
I think first thing is, right, see whom you are trying to, what are you trying to achieve? That's the question I think every organization should ask, yeah. So when we say, what are you trying to achieve? We should not start it at like manager level or division head level like that. It should start from top, because there is a lot of cultural issues, especially in the countries we are working on. There are old family-owned businesses, a lot of cultural issues are there. Thanks to the new millennials joining the board, they're changing the way the things should work, simplify the process. Why we need so much complication?
Yeah.
You just need to achieve this. So first, I think as an IT head or a CIO, whatever title you would like to call, he should be clear with what is that management is trying to achieve. If at least there is no longer plan like 5 years, 10 years, at least start with 3 years plan. What are you trying to achieve? So that expectation, if you know, right, it will really help you in strategizing in which direction you're trying to flow and you're trying to achieve. So then, okay, let's say that's the first thing I would say, yeah. The strategy will tell you what exactly you're trying to achieve as a goal. It will also result into KPIs of the individual human beings, individual HR people, and also the division, and the KPIs will be set at all levels. When you have this strategy mapped to your KPIs or goals, so it really becomes like a measures, right? What are you trying to do? How you are trying to achieve? So sometimes in sales, right? COVID may, like for example, like 1 million was my target. Maybe because of COVID, maybe positivity like maybe 50%, 70% that you. Now the way it's going, it's giving an image like we are recovering in some industries. Suddenly this 1 million, if management says 2 million, it's very easy to set the expectation like this, but they need to define also, okay, given the forecast, given the planning, what we have, so 2 million, how do you expect to measure? People may have, okay, yes, boss kind of thing. Okay, we'll try to achieve. But at the end, if it's still going below 1 million, so it's not really like a strategy and objectives and goals, right? So that's the first priority. Second is when you are happy inside, right? Inside means inside an organization. Imagine you are calling a guest for the dawat or dinner or something. When you are happy, your serving will be happy, right? So being an employee experience, if I think management and HR, IT together as a handshake, you have to make employee experience. That's the second priority. Once employee experience is achieved, he will be the right seller to the market. When customer comes, the customer journey automatically it will become. Then he will say, boss, keeping me happy is fine, but how do I make my customer happy? How do I get a simple illiterate customer coming to buy my spare parts? How can I reduce my time of his like more than 10 minutes to 2 minutes, 3 minutes? So these things, it changes the way you are thinking. That's my third. Integrated systems, I think we are in the world where most of the companies, at least I will consider like medium, large enterprises have such ERPs. Data interface is already happening, at least in our case, but there is still improvement, how the data can seamlessly flow. That's also important because there is interdependency on each department and each person, right? When the trading in the business, you procure, inventory should be available. So that kind of interface and integration is also important. So I would say 4 things here. One is the management expectation with a proper strategy, which should have a clear-cut KPIs to achieve measurable things. That will drive my employee experience because everybody know what is matter. Because as a human race, if you have seen a movie like 3 Idiots, everything is a race, right? So when you know for what you are trying to compete, so I think everybody will do the proper job. Then the dependency on the data and people automatically will come because I need to achieve that KPI. Yeah. 4th thing is customer experience, I would say. Yeah. So if simply marketing mania saying that customer experience, but without having inside everything ready, right? How can you achieve the customer experience when you don't have proper data management as well? You need data to come with the predictive or recommendations, all those things. So this is what sorry if I complicate.
It's not complicated. I think the layer that you've added is that of planning, which is of course the backbone for any growth company. If you have to grow, then you have to plan. Otherwise, there is, you can keep on roaming around in the ocean, but if you don't have a destination, you will basically just go with the current. So perfectly said. No, thank you very much for that. I'll move on to a slightly more human angle, if you'll allow me to. And I want you all to please think of this as a slightly lighter version of it. In the past 2 years, we've all been working in various environments. Some of us have been coming back to office, and some of us have been working from home. But tell me, what's been the type of interactions that you used to have with the HR folks pre-COVID versus now? And now I'm not talking about post-COVID. I'm talking about the COVID era. We're living in the COVID era, right? I mean, Omicron comes and then something else will come and then something else will come. What type of interactions are having? Give us some tidbits. Give us some juicy gossip. Fayaz, why don't you start?
Well, I need to become a juice seller now, yeah. I think the interaction, if I understand right, you're saying how the interaction between the human resources happening with IT or HR department, you're saying?
HR, well, no, human resources with IT.
So why people come to IT? If everything is working fine, no need to come, right? This becomes like a SaaS application, yeah? So where IT say it's not in my hand, whatever you bought, so live with it. But it doesn't happen like this, yeah?
Yeah.
Even though the sellers are coming like, okay, on-premise, then infrastructure as a service, then platform as a service. Now it's complete recipe like SaaS. It looks very good on the paper, on the way marketing strategy, but when it comes to end user, right, like using, SaaS is good. People generally say, if you're a matured organization, you have matured processes, go for the right SaaS, this is fine. But how many companies are matured now? So it depends, yeah? So whatever maturity model you have, still there is a requirement because the dynamics are changing in the customer mindset, customer game, right? So the system has to keep evolving. So have the foundation layer as a SaaS, but you need to adapt the pillars like a low code platform, no code platform. So coming back to your question, when the people are coming to IT, right, they are basically coming to take help. Boss, I have this requirement. How can IT help me? So traditionally we say, as I told in the beginning, this methodology will not work out here. You need to be adaptive. You need to be agile and quick to deliver those kind of things by handshaking together. Not like he dump on me, I dump on you. It doesn't work like that. So when people are coming, most of the times they're coming to seek a help. So I think like HR having a role like HR business partner, right? So we need to also have in IT, it's like ITBP, IT business partner. And preferably the talent you have, it could be technical resource, it could be functional. We generally I always have a debate in my team. Most of the software engineers in my team are all engineers and from a premium institution, mostly in India, Pakistan, like this. When I ask about myself, I am a biology student. When I could grow to CIO level, yeah, what is there in you? You have a good English. You are blessed that your parents spent a lot of money. Some are very talented, free education. I never spend any money on my education. Everything is government. When I could grow by teaching experience and take the requirements and deliver, what is less on you? You are an engineer. You know English very well. You can speak very well. You walk the English, talk the English like this. And you are doing the development, you are doing the requirement, and you are the person raise the question, why you are asking like this? Why don't you have in a more functional way, translate the business requirement? Think like user is like innocent. He doesn't know. If he know, he will be very heavy on you. Yeah. So imagine this is a blessing you have. Try to understand his requirement. Our approach, we should be like a service center. When a customer walks in with a customer car, we are receiving with a polite gestures and all, right? So same way, how can I help you? This, I think you need to change the way we are interacting with our business partners. So for us, I think maybe 1%, 2% users, staff, I could say, but when you're dealing with more than 90% of the business users, 90% people are coming to seek our help. That itself is a great blessing.
I agree.
So when you approach the people with a helpful mindset, I think they are going to be like a lovely partners between the IT and.
No, it's a phenomenal thought, and let me try and let let me try and venture a guess why, as a biology student, you've risen to this thing. It's because of your clarity of thought, and I commend you on that. Thank you very
That's
much.
because of my passion towards computers. So that's it's very different.
No, very clear thinking process. I have to say. Thank you very much for that. Fayaz. Very well said. That you need to be partners with the business, and you need to actually ensure that, whether HR is coming to you, treat them as partners. Whether a business is coming to you, treat them as partners rather than just be, come with a more detail and stuff like that. Brilliant. If every CIO were to sort of come down and percolate that into the company would definitely be better. Bhupendra, what about you? What do you think should be what do you think has changed in your interaction with HR over the past year or so?
So what is definitely appreciation we hear from HR is, though, they had seen us as a technology team and technology leader, but during this pandemic, one of the good appreciation came was the emotional side, or the touch. It was not only high tech but a high touch we maintained during this pandemic. So it was basically, when I interacted with my team internally, at the cost of repetition, the same communication was repeated so many times in the meetings across, whether it is IT meeting or IT with our client, so that it reaches. We were basically used to work in an office environment where somehow or other that. No, you come to know. But here you are kind of with your family, you are in a different emotional state. So to make the communication reach, it was not like, no, you send a mail and forget about it whether you're bringing those, have you read this mail, or what is you feel. But so getting a full feedback on what are they going through, starting meetings with more of knowing what people are doing in this time, how they are rediscovering themselves, what are the challenges they are facing, sharing one's good learning with the others. So good and not so good part, dealing with that, but essentially making it as the first important discussion point whenever our meetings happened during the pandemic, whether it was with HR, marketing, or any other departments. So that was one thing we did. Other is, we also, as a kind of at this point, because people would come and reach out to us. So it is basically IT will provide resources to, like, who makes more noise. So it was just to know, we are basically like, when we needed device connectivity, VPN speed, so the resources were scarce. So we didn't have devices to provide everyone to work from home. So we basically kind of applied multiple approaches. On your personal laptop, can we provide VPN connectivity and you log in? In some cases, we basically have provided the entire desktop and his printer system shifted to homes. There were kind of people who could not work in a remote environment. So basically providing them initial support. Thing looks very kind of mundane now, but initially it was kind of so difficult for somebody to know really providing them a remote support, when basically full kind of employee base was talking to you from home. And these are the few basic things which we basically enjoyed, and we were kind of were able to support better. And it was more apart from the emotional side, it was the proactiveness of the IT team which was appreciated in these times. You don't wait for something to make perfect whatever you have, because we were used to go back to businesses once you have perfected thing and know it is in a minimum viable state. But here was a scene, it was a complete kind of, the basic need was business continuity. So we were starting with something very basic. Can you try this? Do you have this? Or so that at certain point you will feel, okay, this guy doesn't need the whole complete system, but he is basically asking for some small thing to so that his task gets fulfilled. So this approach also, not waiting for full completeness and perfection, and rather than reaching out and doing more communication with the discovery communication with the end users, so that they basically are served better in this. So
phenomenal.
So high touch was the thing we did. Yeah.
Basically the CIO team had now become partly HR. and you were
Partly HR, yeah. The idea was to bring out the technology inside the other people and also bring out our HR as a function in us. Yeah.
No, phenomenal. I think both of you have sort of resonated a similar sentiment, and I do hope and pray that many of the folks who are listening in will sort of take this home and take this to the bank literally. Is that how can IT perform better is by becoming more people centric, be more of a business partner with HR, and then after that, of course, become more. Now, one final question to you, and I want a one-line answer. No two lines, one-line answer. All three of you. And the question is, you have already obviously embarked from where you were pre-COVID to where you are during COVID. But if we have to take this journey forward, what would be your recommendation to the HR folks or to the CHROs? What should they do so that the relationship between a CIO and a CHRO is the best and that they can leverage your expertise to the maximum? What is it that they should do? One line answer. Bhupendra, we'll start with you.
So difficult to give an answer in one line, Mrigank. So maybe I may use.
One line does not mean there is a barrier for horizontal. Yeah. So
maybe two or three lines. Yeah.
Sure.
So first is definitely the pandemic has accelerated the digital transformation. So having reached at some momentum. So post pandemic, let us not lose that. So let's build on that. That is the first advice would be. Let us also look at in a more strategic and long term plan now to build on this the post pandemic transformation process. And also when CHRO or HR team are looking at systems, what I would suggest is partner with IT, and CIO and the IT team, I can say, are the best friend of HR. And they can basically what they should look at is when they look at systems, it's not like they get carried away by sometimes the best practices which works well in some different geography or different kind of organization. So instead of that, if they look at understand their organization culture and design or think of something which is their organization's next practice. So instead of looking at the some best practice.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Fayaz, what about you?
Yeah, I think CHRO role is a very interesting role. Yeah. So basically, he or she is supposed to know what is a human resource first. Yeah. So when you ask as a human being, right, what makes me happy? So we are talking about how do I make my resources happy? That should be the primary KPI, if not one of the KPIs. Yeah. So when you have that, right, how do I make my people happy? Like in IT, how do I make end user happy through my technology help? In the same way, CHRO or HR department is the only blessed department where an employee feel happy to go and talk to them, maybe to seek a guidance, maybe to complain, maybe to have a policy related questions and all. So it's a human to human touch, right, which cannot be eliminated, which cannot be overridden by any layer. Let it be technology only can complement with the way you can interact. So I believe, imagine if I am a CHRO, I would rather invest in TikTok kind of platform, internal social media kind of platform, where most of the people, nobody is 100% productive. Yeah. Correct. So when they have definitely they will have some free time, and free time, it goes just like that on unproductive stuff. So if I'm a CHRO, if I put some, I won't say cunning mind, but a smart mind. So how do I squeeze to get the productivity from the unproductive stuff? If I can make something like a content which can be helpful to within his department, within the organization, and believe me, I mean, there are people who are really looking for such kind of talents to be exhibited within the organization. They want to get encouraged. It's not always about increment, salary and all. So how happy I am by working in an organization. I think if as a CHRO, connect to humans through the technology help like a platform, I think this is going to be wonderful.
Phenomenal. Veneeth, any words from you on this one?
Yeah, so I don't know. If CHROs are the best people to get the work anyway, because they are the best people there. They know what they need from people. today's generation and the people have gone through a lot of stress and have gone through a lot of change. So top of the agenda would be two things, but both are related. We need to continue to work. CHROs will have to work with all the other function heads and vertical heads to ensure that we provide enough trust among our employees, uh, feel make them feel that they're important and they are good, because there is a lot of disconnect because of whatever we say, this online connects that we've been having. And all this has also led to a lot of pressure. Most of us are unaware of the other person's challenges in the personal front. So a lot more empathy. So a lot more empathy, a lot more trust.
No, thanks for that. So folks, this has been a very, very enlightening session. We might even have actually gone a bit over the time, but I'm sure that the ET team will do their magic and help us out the way that they can. Really appreciate all of you actually taking the time out and helping us with these questions. Very, very enlightening to me personally, and I love the fact that IT should become more HR and HR should become more IT. It's just a bit of a crossover that is actually required, and if you're able to do that, I'm pretty sure that all organizations across the world, Middle East and India and Southeast Asia, will be able to do better and better. So thank you very much for this, and hopefully the audience enjoyed, and you would have got some good nuggets to take away from these very, very esteemed speakers.
Thank you so much, Bhupendra, Fayaz, Veneeth, and Mrigank for this wonderful session. And thank you, Mrigank, for driving this conversation. Lot of insights, lot of practices to reflect upon. And I'm sure our audience has a lot of things to learn and apply in their organization. So thank you, everyone. And to our audience, you can share your reflections in the comment section and stay tuned for the next session.